What is going on, everyone? It is Tyler McKinney back here again, and I am excited for today's video. If it's your first time here, glad to have you. If you're a return viewer, thanks for coming back and thanks for watching more videos. And if you haven't yet, consider subscribing. Now, I want to hit one thing real quick, and I just want to give Drew a quick shout out and say, Drew, hopefully you like the outro. Hopefully you like me going back to the old way I was doing things. And I will say, it felt nice. It felt right to get back to ending the videos the way that I used to. So hopefully you enjoyed it. I know I did too. So thank you, Drew, for commenting, and thank you for suggesting that, because it kind of does make a difference. And to all of you others out there who are commenting, who are sharing your thoughts, thank you very much. I appreciate it. It's fun to interact with you guys, and so let's keep it up. And I'm hoping that today's video will do that. We are starting a new series. It's going to be called Tyler's Picks, or Tyler's Targets is what I'm calling it. I'm calling it Tyler's Targets, and the idea is that I'm going to go through and I'm going to kind of do an analysis, a breakdown of some guys that I think that could really excel in the XFL, that the XFL should look at. And so I'm going to talk about them, kind of go over kind of my thoughts and ideas about them. I'll go ahead and we'll break down some film a little bit, and then I'll kind of give you my final thoughts at the end and why I think that it's a good thing to do it. So hopefully it should be something you should enjoy, be something a little bit different for this channel, and I'm looking forward to it. All right, so I'm going to start out this very first one, and this one's near and dear to my heart. And why do you say that? Well, because it's a Buckeye, and you know that I am a huge Buckeye fan. I'm a big Buckeye. I've been a Buckeye my whole life, and to have this guy on the list and to start the list off with this guy just makes sense. And you probably know who I'm going to be talking about. I'm talking about JT Barrett. JT Barrett probably going to end up being probably one of the most prolific stats-wise quarterbacks that the Buckeyes that they've ever had, and might quite possibly ever have, being that he's a guy who ended up, starting for 4 years. Now, I know one of them was half year with Cardale Jones. But it just makes sense to start there, and I think he would be a really good fit for the XFL. And if you remember, back in his college years, this is a guy who broke 39 different records at Ohio State, at the Ohio State University. That's just crazy. He broke, I just want to get this in, 39 records, or set 39 records at Ohio State when he was the quarterback there. That's pretty good, I think. But more than that, on top of that, he was a guy that only lost 6 games throughout his whole career. So he literally started for 4 years at Ohio State. So throughout those 4 years, only lost a total of 6 games. This guy is a winner. He's a guy that he's shown to rise above adversity and still take it to the next level. And here's the reason why I think that he needs to go to the XFL. He really needs some more really game tape, really get into playing. It's kind of like with, you're going to hear this from me quite a bit, is that I'm going to compare him to PJ Walker. I think that his skill set, the way that he does things, it matches up very, very well with the way that Walker does things. What jumps off the page right off of the bat is his leadership. Everybody talks about his leadership, and I know there are going to be those guys out there. I know there are those guys of you that are out there that are saying, listen, when you're talking about leadership about a quarterback, it's like talking about, a girl and talking about her personality first. I get that. There's a lot of people that feel like he is a guy who he's just not that talented. And I'm here to tell you that I I think that he's a lot more talented than what you think, and I think that he hasn't really been given an opportunity. He's really only played in a couple of games that he did for the Saints in the preseason, and I think that he's a guy that, given an opportunity to truly lead a team, I think that he's going to really make some impacts in some football. If he can get in, they can get him in the XFL, get him in, get him starting, get him playing. It's going to be just like PJ Walker. He's going to get on the field. It's going to be like, where was this guy? Why haven't we been talking about him? And, end up with a decent deal back in the NFL. And he's a guy, too, right now. He has been in the NFL since he's been out of college. This guy has great football knowledge. That's part of the reason why he's been pretty much on a practice squad his entire time. And, right now he's gone from the Saints to went and was in Seattle for a little bit, back with the Saints, and then was shortly here with the Steelers. But they need to get on it with him, because he could get snatched back up onto a practice squad here soon if the XFL doesn't get things in gear. And remember, he's this, again, PJ Walker, same age as PJ Walker, so he's a pretty young guy that has a lot of years of playing, ahead of him. And remember, he doesn't have those bumps and bruises as some of the other guys do. Now, granted, he did have some injuries in college, but as a guy who might be in the league for 3 years, he doesn't have all of that wear and tear, that somebody else would, and that with it. But so you're looking at a guy, again, who has serious leadership skills. I mean, that's the first thing that coaches talk about when they talk about JT Barrett, and it has nothing to do with the fact that he doesn't have talent. It has to do with the fact that when he walks into the room, he commands the room. There's something to say about that. And it's part of those intangibles, part of those things that it's just like, with Tim Tebow, people would make fun of him, this and that about the things, but when he played quarterback, he won games. There's no doubt about that. Now, granted, it didn't always look the best. They wanted some different things here and there, especially in the NFL. But when it came to playing and getting people to play, he won. JT Barrett is a guy like that. He's a winner. He's a leader. He takes the leadership role. And you see that in the way that he plays and the way that he does things. He does things very precise, very well, and he's very disciplined about the way that he goes about his business. And he is talented. The problem is that he doesn't stick above the rest with it. Now, when you look at his intangibles, probably his best trait is to be able to read things, whether it be doing the zone read, or whether it be reading a defense, looking off safeties, determining what's going on in the field. He is a fantastic general when it comes to that. I mean, he literally is up there when it comes to intelligence. And that's why a lot of these teams keep him around, because they know that he'll be able to manage the game for them. And that's why he's been there, to where if they need to call him up, that they know that they've got a guy who's smart enough to be there. And so as I look at it, with that, those are the things that really stand out to me with him. The other thing is he does have speed. He ran, a 4.71 40, which is faster than, slightly faster than Walker did. And he is a bit of a bigger guy. So when you need those short yardage runs, those things, he's been able to hammer them out throughout his career. And you even saw that in college. Even with him hurt, he was still able to make good decisions, good reads. It's hard to find a time when he didn't make a good read when it came to, in the RPO, handing the ball off or keeping the ball. That's JT Barrett for you with it. Now, I know that there are the weaknesses that he has. And here's the knocks, and here's the thing that's really kept him off of the field and really not gotten him the opportunity. Sometimes it takes him a bit too long to process the information, meaning to take what's in here and project it onto the field. He's been a really good general of putting things in place, but sometimes he makes decisions too late. And especially in the NFL, you can't do that. You need to anticipate. You need to see that and go. And part of it has been his indecision ongoing. And I don't necessarily think that it's his process of going through and examining things, figuring it out. It's more of him making the decision. He's late on the decisions, making those decisions, going from there with it. The other thing is he's had some inconsistencies which had led to like some inaccuracies and things like that. If you can remember, they had, Ohio State had a couple of games where it was just those ridiculous games where they were just blunders in that. And you're like, what in the world happened to them? The Purdue game sticks out. The Iowa game sticks out. There are things like that with him that when you look at the situation with it. Now, granted, he wasn't part of one of those games, but what I'm saying is that's the type of thing with him. When he gets in some of these games, he just he's non-existent, not there in that, and I don't. That would be more the rarity than that was, the rule. That was definitely the exception to the rule. You start looking at his stats and his things, and to have 64% completion percentage and things like that is fairly high, and that's fairly decent. So it is kind of a knock on him, but I don't think he's as inaccurate as what people think he is. I think he's one of those guys to where he does everything good. He doesn't do anything exceptional, and that's the problem that I don't think that people see, and it hasn't translated because everything's been on the practice squad, and he hasn't had a chance to actually complete it and to do it in a game. And I think if he got an opportunity to do it in a game, I think that would make a big difference for him. So let's go ahead, let's break some video down, let's look at some of those things and the reasons why, and then we'll come back and sum everything up afterwards. All right, so let's go ahead and let's back up what I'm saying with some actual game film. Let's get into a few plays by JT Barrett, and let's look at some of the stuff that is going on here. Now, let's first start off with, these plays are not plays that I'm using, at least from the college standpoint. These are not plays that I'm using that are ones where he's playing against lesser competition. No, he's playing against, at the time, they were number 2 Penn State. And most of these plays that you're going to see, they're from them playing top 10 teams, definitely top 15 teams that finished out the season. And so this is very good talent that he's playing against from the college film. He has a few, a couple games that he played in the pros for preseason. I don't really hold a lot of stock in preseason, especially if you watch my videos, that. So without further ado, let's go ahead and let's break down this film. So the game is on the line. Now, granted, I will give it to you that they're at home, but this just shows just how big of a leader and just the poise, the ice water in his veins that he has. Less than a minute to go in the game, and they're down by 5 points here, and at one point they were down by 3 scores in the fourth quarter. So they've been coming back. They've been surging back against a really good defense. And a lot of these guys on defense, these are caliber guys. And if I'm not mistaken, there are a few that do have some NFL experience here. So we've got JT Barrett right here, and let's go ahead and we're going to go ahead and start this play. Now he's going to go ahead and fake. And now let's look at this, what he did with the fake. And as you can see, he's already scanning the field. And like I said before, he is a very good field general. There's no doubt about that. What he's done now is he's frozen all of these linebackers here. And he's also got the attention of the safety here. What it's doing is it's allowing him now to see what's going on and what's going to go on with these linebackers. As you can see, he's developing it, and it looks like that these 2 routes right here are probably his main go-to routes, and he has this down here as an option, and this is right now probably looking like a probably trying to seal this guy over here. So bring this corner that's up high, or this corner here, and trying to bring them out of the play with it here. And this is also another dump off here. So let's play it out just a little bit more. Okay, now we're seeing where things are happening, right? So we're seeing him bail. We're seeing him still sit. But here's the thing: you've got a linebacker on a really, really tall tight end. So we already kind of know where he's wanting to look to go right there with it. You've got him running there. Now they're kind of out of the picture, but you kind of see your other wide receiver out here. And watch what he does here. Pay attention to his head. He's already starting to throw, looking at it. But the way he has it, it's almost looking, and you watch these guys, it's almost looking as if he's almost looking off this guy right here to the tight end here. Now this guy's way out of the picture. He's never going to get to there by the time the ball's already thrown. So he goes, he throws the ball. He's out of position. He's out of position. This guy's out of position. He throws it directly where only his very tall tight end can get the ball. Remember, the game is on the line here, and it really does show just the poise that he has. Throws a touchdown, throws a really good ball where only his guy can get it, puts it in a good position, and he goes ahead and he catches the touchdown. That puts them ahead, and they seal the deal and win the game. Like I said, this is all happening with the game on the line. You know, the game is on your shoulders. He takes the game on, and he wins. It just goes to show you that he is a winner. So we've got that going on here. All right, now let's go ahead and let's move on to this next play. Now these next few plays that I'm going to be showing you here, the reason why I'm showing you these next plays are because, again, this is against another top 5 opponent. Game on the line. They're down in the game. It's in the second quarter. Still a lot of game left to go. But look at the power that he has in running. Now remember, this is a guy who just got done having his knee scoped and having knee surgery. I think just the week prior to this game. So he hasn't even really had a whole week to really truly heal. Check this out. Barrels on through. Now, granted, I'll give his line, a definite credit. But this Wisconsin team had a really, really good defense, and they have well-coached guys, a good defense. They've got some big bruisers up front there, and for him to barrel through like he does and fall forward like he does just shows that he does have the size to pound when you need to and when you need him to, and to take advantage of that. So we have this here. Now this is another play again against another top 10 team. Now watch his vision that he has when running, because this is one thing that I think that people don't pay attention to. And if you watch this here. So this is the read option, and he's watching the end crash down here. So he's watching it. He's got the read option here. So now he's going here. He's watching, seeing what's happened with he's got the end going in. He's got the linebacker crashing here, or safety or whatever. Now watch. He is probably one of the best quarterbacks I've seen at reading this option here. So he reads the option, pulls it out. Let's get to where we can see a little bit better here. And he's heading to the end zone. And so it just goes to show you he's got very, very good ball running vision. He is a very good field general. He knows what he's doing, knows where to pick, where to go on this. And again, this is another top 10 team, a very good defense. And these guys, there are guys on this team that were on this team that do now have NFL experience. And has the power, again, to get into the end zone. So I definitely want to show that. Now, this next play is in the same game. Going to be running, another option here. So he's got the fake here. Now he's going to read it, and I think he still makes the correct read from there. But you got the untouched guy coming from the end, which we kind of knew because his man was the number 21, and so you're going to have that guy. But watch JT Barrett go through and adjust. So he adjusts and goes through, finds the hole. Now, this is what I want to pay attention to. So he had a 4.7 40, and he has really good speed. That was one thing that I think he got knocked on later on in his college career, that he didn't have really the speed to do it. Remember, these are USC guys. These are 4- and 5-star guys. These guys are very, very fast, and watch him kind of blow by them. Watch this. I mean, and run right into the end zone. That was really good stuff there. So again, it's just showing you that he can really run the ball. Now I know I've only shown one really passing scenario, and this is a very good scenario. So he goes through. He's sitting in the pocket, and again, he's playing for the Saints now. This is in a preseason game. Obviously, there's hardly any time left. There's nothing. These guys are pretty much fighting for a job, and that's just about it. So he sees things happen. The pocket collapses. He goes and runs the ball and has no problem running the ball into the end zone. Again, he has the speed to do that and that with it. Now, on this play, if you go through and watch, he's going to read it, going to step up and hit his check down man, which is perfect. He does that really, really well. I think that's one knock on him is that they would like to see him throw the ball down the field more and take more risks, but he's not a guy that takes that many risks. However, working with the quarterbacks he has the past couple years, I would think that he probably has picked up some things from Drew Brees, Russell Wilson, and being in those quarterback rooms that I would like to see him get in a game now with that extra experience and things like that to where he might actually sling the ball around a little bit more than what you might think. This next play coming up here, we're going to get to see a little bit more of his arm. He doesn't have the greatest arm, but you don't need to. And this is the stuff that he needs to do more of, and that he got knocked on coming out of college, is seeing the ball, anticipating where the wide receiver is going to be, and hit them. And I think that he can do that, and I think that he can get there from that. That was really the thing that, he really just is average in about every place but his running skills and his diagnosing the play. And if he can keep that stuff up, I think that he's going to be really good and let his playmakers make plays. And I think that that's a great place for him for when he gets into the XFL game. I think that he would, fit in really well to just about every type of system that there is. I think that he would fit in. I think the only place I don't think that he would do fairly well in might be New York, just because New York is set up more definite, prototypical style quarterback situation with things like that. But really, outside of that, I don't really see, a team that really couldn't benefit from having him. The best place, I think, for him would be in Seattle with Jim Zorn running Jim Zorn's offense. I think he would be, I've been comparing him to P.J. Walker, but I think he's more akin to a guy like B.J. Daniels and might even be, a step above B.J. Daniels when it comes to a field general, and that with it to where I think he would fit in good there. Houston would be another great place for him. I also think that he could do well down in Tampa Bay or with the Vipers, wherever they do end up. So definitely a lot of options, a lot of places for him. I think Dallas or the Renegades, the air raid's not really for him, but I think that he could make it work, especially with the running back tandem that they have there. So that's kind of a breakdown of some of the game film of JT Barrett, and now let's get right back into the rest of the video. All right, now that we've looked at some game tape, some things with him for that, let's go ahead and let's break some, not break it down. Let's take this and kind of bring it all back together. And here's the big reason why I think that JT Barrett's going to fit well with the XFL. I think that the style of XFL it's not college, it's not pro, it's a hybrid in the middle that's a bit more fast-paced, that tends to play more a little bit towards kind of those guys who excel in the college ball, to where I think that he would excel here, being able to get in there, make some quick decisions, make some stuff, get in there. And he does have the experience of being in the NFL and learning from guys like Drew Brees, who he broke records of. Being behind, another guy in, Seattle, Russell Wilson. You got two of the guys that he's now been underneath that are, arguably two of the better quarterbacks and have been for the past few years in the NFL. And then he spent some time in Pittsburgh. I don't know how much time he spent around, Ben Roethlisberger, but he's been around, some good head coaches, been around some really good quarterbacks, learned from them. And I think then taking that and translating that to the XFL and bringing his talents there, what he can, and taking over a team, I think that really might be able to give him a shot and a chance. The other thing where I think that the XFL is a really nice place for him is, this is his last year to be on a practice squad. From here on out, you only get 3 seasons to be on a practice squad. So this is it for him. So he's got to do something now, or next year he's probably going to transition then to coaching. He's not going to be really a player anymore unless he gets on an actual team. And he's just been a practice squad guy. And making the money he has been on the practice squad. Practice squad doesn't make as much as what some people think. Last year he made, I think it was like $136,000. Let's round it up to $150,000. You throw $200,000, $175,000, $150,000 to this guy for 6 months. You get me from December to May, and then you can go do what you want. That's really appealing, and really have some decent game footage to show that, listen, you're playing against, better caliber guys, higher caliber guys, and he's making good decisions, good throws, and we see his maturity from when he played in college ball to where he's playing now in pro ball. That's going to make a lot of difference, and I think it's a really good place to put him. So as I'm looking at this, breaking this all down, coming to a conclusion with it, he would be my first guy that I would go after. I would throw $150,000 to $200,000 at him, say, come in here, lead a team. You're going to be, a quarterback for one of my teams. Even coming in, and Houston would be a great fit, I think, for him. Tampa Bay, I think, would be another great place. Seattle would be another good place for him. Just looking at kind of the landscape of things, I think that those would be places where I think he could go and succeed. I think Tampa Bay and Houston would be the 2 best places that I would put him. Who knows what would happen with DC with definitely having to have a new coach. So as I'm looking at this, that would be my first target. Now comes the question, what do you think? And I would like to know too. Leave me down in the comments the guys that you would like me to break down. If you like me doing this, we'll go through. It doesn't just have to be quarterbacks. Starting off with the quarterbacks, because it's always the quarterback that everything starts with, and you have to have a good quarterback to have a really good team, especially in the way that the XFL is and the way that the XFL plays, and the way that football's played nowadays. So want to start off there. I'll definitely be coming back to you guys with more of these Tyler's targets. Hopefully you liked this style of video. Hopefully it was a different change of pace for you. And I'd love to know down in the comments what you thought, what you think of my first Tyler's target, and who you think I should do as my next target. Whew. So that was a lot, and I appreciate you guys being here with me throughout all of it. So let's get on out of here, because I know that you're busy and I'm busy. Have a good night. Bye.